going on, Billboarders? You are locked on to another great interview. We're sitting down today at the landmark Mandarin Oriental with a singer-songwriter out of the UK, someone who's done some pretty crazy things with some pretty crazy people. Grammy-nominated, Brit Award-nominated, all over the map. First time in Hong Kong, I think?
First time setting foot properly
there we go.
Outside the airport, yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Lianne La Havas. Obviously, the first place we've got to start, London born and bred, yes. Greek and Jamaican parents.
Yes.
How did you get to where you are today?
Gosh, I don't know. I was a kid, about 7 years old, and that's the first time I physically sang, and it felt good. And I was like, oh, I'll just keep doing this. And then I started to play the piano. My dad plays piano, so he got me a keyboard. It was a very small, like a Casio thing with programmed songs inside. And so I used to like learn the songs that were programmed in it just with one hand and play the melodies on one hand. And then I thought, I really like playing keyboards. So I carried on. And then eventually one day I just like sang and played at the same time. Thought this is kind of cool.
We've got to talk a little bit about Blood because that's the most recent release.
Yeah.
From what I understand, this came about in part from a trip back to Jamaica with your mother.
Yeah.
And from what has been written about it, it's a reconnection to your Greek and Jamaican roots, and sort of just a return to heritage in essence.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about how that album came to be and that process.
I think it was made gradually over about 2 years. And I started writing it before I went to Jamaica. And then I guess Jamaica was like the part that made me realize what it should be about, you know? So I went there with my mum, and that was like our first just girls only holiday, which was so amazing because it was interesting to go with her as an adult instead of, you know, like I'd been away with her when I was a kid, but this was just different because, you know, I was the age she was when she had me, so it felt like it felt like this kind of, I don't know, it just felt significant. I loved it and I was very struck by it, and then I got the opportunity to actually record in Jamaica, so I went down to Kingston and I met a producer called Stephen McGregor, who is the son. Do you know Freddie McGregor?
Yeah, and I think I've heard of Stephen as well.
Yeah, so he's the son of Freddie, and Stephen himself is a really wonderful songwriter and producer that I met just while I was on holiday with my mum, and we ended up making some music, and I really liked it and decided I wanted to go back and work with him. And then one of the tracks that's on the album, one of my favourites actually, that it just means a lot because of being in Jamaica and stuff, called Midnight, that was written and recorded in Jamaica. So I always hear the atmosphere of the studio whenever I listen to it and whenever I play it. So
there's something called the Blood solo EP.
Ah, yes.
And there's a few of these. There's a few of these solo EPs.
Yeah, I'd like to do that every now and again.
Yeah, well, it's a different experience just listening through it, not knowing anything about any of that.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the idea of the solo EP compared to the full album.
Well, I was very lucky to work with loads of amazing producers when I was making, you know, Blood, the studio version. But it occurred to me that, you know, because I play guitar and just that's where I started really, is just playing in clubs just on my own. I didn't have a band when I started or anything. So I had to adapt the songs that I'd made demos of that perhaps they did have beats and stuff. But when it came to playing them, I had to figure out a way to do it on my own. So then I think my style on guitar developed from there. And I wanted to capture that about these new songs in the Blood solo EP. So what you hear is just me covering all the bases, just me on the guitar.
Her South London smile sees home.
how does that kind of thing influence the work you're doing? I mean, the music you listen to,
Yeah.
how does it play into what you create?
Well, I mean, you got to wait to hear.
Well, I suppose that's fair, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, regarding what it's doing to me right now and my writing, it's just when you listen to a lot of things, a lot of different types of music, even the stuff that you find challenging, I think it's actually better to listen to stuff that's really challenging as well as things that you enjoy, like comfort zone type, music that you love, because it just expands your mind. I don't know, like I always want to have my mind blown by music, so when that does happen, it can only result in a positive outcome, I think. So yeah, it's just making me believe that you can achieve whatever you want to achieve in the studio or outside of the studio. Like, music is such a phenomenon because anything is possible in music. Like, you can make
absolutely.
anything into music. So that's where I'm at right now.
Okay.
Just trying to make anything into music.
One last question.
Yes.
What's up for the future?
I think I'm going to just keep working on new music and just eventually it should result in my third album, which I'm excited to see what it is and see what it's going to be.
I know what I've got and I know where we're going. You don't need to show it. I already know it all. It's what you don't do. It's what you don't say.
I'm just really happy to be here. I'm really excited to meet you, and I'm really grateful that you've found my music somehow to listen to it. So thank you for supporting me so far, and hopefully you'll like my new music when it comes.